Hey there. This is different. This is brand new. From now on, this is how I'm going to bring you our investigations, our best evidence, newest EVPs. Overall, welcome to the new Ghost Theory. There you are. Now, in this new show, I hope for it to be weekly, no promises. However, this is going to be our new forum of how we handle new EVPs, new investigations, and overall great new pieces of evidence that we capture every time we go investigating. That being said, let's delve into the very first edition of this new forum. This is our best evidence so far. Now, we've been doing this for quite a few years. We've investigated my house, my partner Matthew's house, and separate different schools. And overall, we've captured amazing evidence. Being as young as we are, we're not really looked at as being so valid. So, let this be a new way to show that we are professional despite our age, and that we know what we're doing, and we have captured some amazing things. That being said, let's get to our first piece of evidence, the floating baby head. This picture was captured in the basement of the building, and you can see distinct features of what appear to be eyes, a nose, a mouth, overall just the round shape of what looks like a baby's head. Now, there were no dolls in this area. Dust was hard to capture on co-investigator Matthew's camera, and overall, there was no reason for that to happen. And following the history of the house with infant mortality, it's no surprise that we were able to capture a floating baby head. Now moving on to our next thing. This is an interesting thing. Captured in the upstairs room of that house, the 7900 house, we captured a very distinct shadow figure. Take a look. Now, me and Matthew were joined by my aunt in that investigation, so there was a third person. However, given how every time me and Matthew barely moved, you could hear our little creaking. Notice how the shadow moves from left to right very, very quickly, and how we don't hear any movement at all. As the shadow moves left to right, it almost stops on the wall, then it goes into Matthew's shadow, and it passes onward, as if it was just making a round trip. And the direction it was going was more towards an empty part of the house, a creepy closet. The doorway for the closet was only about 2.5 feet tall by a foot. And this next piece was also captured at the 7900 house. We were doing a very, very sketchy investigation. Nothing felt right. We walked into the house, and the second we got our equipment out, they knew what we were there for, and they knew that we were going to try and make communication with them. However, at the same time, we didn't know just what was going on at the house at the time. There was no interference with this at all. This was an EVP we left in the kitchen of this room, and you can hear distinctly that we weren't there. There was 19 minutes of pure silence, and then afterwards there were 27 minutes of pure silence. But in between was a 33-second long EVP that I can only describe as hellacious. The torture we hear in this woman's voice and the malevolence we hear in the male voice is just so uneasy and so unreal. It is by far the most disturbing thing we've ever captured. Now this next piece of evidence is, for once, not in the 7900 house. This is actually captured at an elementary school in downtown Denver named Dora Moore Elementary. While in the basement of this school, we entered the boiler room. We walked around with our cameras, not expecting to capture any EVPs because there's so much noise around us. So we focused mostly on visuals. And now this visual we captured is stunning. It is a full body apparition that disappears in thin air. Now notice how the apparition shows up and just disappears, and it almost has motion to it. Now this is very impressive. There were only 3 of us there at the time. Myself, Matthew, and Mark. We were just roaming around trying to capture something, and right as we hit record, the camera captures a full body apparition, and then it just disappeared. Now this is very personal for me. On the day of my grandpa's death, my dad got the phone call. We headed up to Alamosa, Colorado, where he had been staying, and my grandpa had died. This is very sad. However, the ghost hunter in me was like, I have the tools. Maybe I can get one last message. So I walked in to the room he died in. His body was still there. Everyone was crying. Everyone was sad. So the mortuary came, took his body, put him in a hearse, and the room was empty. No one went in the room. No one wanted to go in the room. So I went in there with my EVP without my family knowing, and I started recording an EVP session. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if my granddad had anything to say to me, but at the same time I was curious as to maybe what I would, capture. But then my cousin walked in. My cousin was always kind of skeptical of the things that I had captured. So he walked in and he asked one question. He asked, "Is it better in heaven, Grandpa?" And clear as day, my granddad replied with a yes. Take a listen.
Is it better in heaven, Grandpa? Is it better in heaven, Grandpa? Is it better in heaven, Grandpa?
Now there was no interference of this at all. Everyone was crying and they were just listening to music in the background, which I'm sure you heard. But at the same time, no one knew that what we had captured was, what we captured. I kept this from a secret from my family for a long time, and I finally was able to show people. And every time I show it to them, they asked, "Where did you hear the recording of Grandpa saying yes?" They thought I edited something together, when in reality the sad truth is I didn't really talk to my grandpa that much. I didn't really know him that well. However, he did give me one of the coolest things on his way out, and that was distinct proof that there's life after death, and that apparently heaven is better. Alright guys, that's it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this new forum. I don't know, this is just something new that I want to try out. And please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think was bullshit, which was none of, but, please let me know if you think it's fake, because, I don't know, I love skeptics. And, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and we are the Ghost Theory crew, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye guys.